What's up, everybody? Hi. So, my name is Joel, and I'm here for a couple reasons today, maybe more than a couple. One, I'm here to have a bit of a discussion with you about my story. My story is going to help identify accidents, purpose, reason, and impact. I don't believe that there are any accidents. I think everything happens for a purpose. Because of that purpose, there's a reason, and your choice is to have an impact. It's talk right now, but as the story gets deeper, you'll understand a little bit more about why I'm here. Ultimately, at the end of the talk, for your essays, for your questions, the goal is gratitude. Cool, here we go. 2002. I was diagnosed with a type of cancer called papillary thyroid cancer. A couple months after I was diagnosed with cancer, I found out I was going to be a dad. So while I'm learning about becoming a dad, or really whatever that means, that I'm going to be a dad, and fighting cancer, my grandmother was admitted to a hospital in Jackson, in Miami, called Jackson, where she ultimately died from a medical error. The reason that's important now is because she died from a medical error in the same facility that was about to save my son's life. So I'm dealing with cancer, trying to graduate college, trying to figure out how to do the jobs, trying to figure out how to work out a relationship with somebody that I had just broken up with to only find out that I was going to have a kid with. So I figured, let's try to work it out. So Justin's born. I'm going through treatment, school's happening, and we go to the doctor where he does a checkup that all of us have had. You know when you're at the doctor and they do that? They tap on you? It seems a little strange, but what they're doing is trying to hear an echo inside your liver. It's the biggest organ in the body, so it has some sound. Doctor is tapping on it, looks over. You guys have to go to Jackson. Got to go to Jackson. This is the same place that just killed my grandmother. Now, when I tell you just killed my grandmother, I'm not a little upset that they happened to do something. This was a legitimate medical error that ended up costing my grandmother her life. Okay, that's a story for a different day. Part of her story is in the purpose. So we go down to Jackson, sitting across the table from the doctors, and they're like, we need to perform a procedure. Okay, what's it called? Well, it's called a Kasai. And because Justin's liver is so cirrhosed and hardened, that we need to take the tubes that are attached to it and move it. Justin was diagnosed with a disease called biliary atresia. I only have a few minutes with you, but there's two things you can't do today. One, make fun of my handwriting. As you can see, it's not the greatest. The other is my artwork. Okay? It's important now. So I'm going to try to draw you a liver. Let's see. That's supposed to be a liver. Okay? And inside your liver you have, this was better last time, I think, baby. You have like a tree.
That's perfect.
That's a perfect one, right?
Perfect.
So inside this tree filters out red blood cells. Okay? You guys have ever seen been around anyone that's had a baby, or when you were babies, if you're a little yellow or jaundiced, you're told to go out in the sun. It gets rid of that and helps this work. In Justin, that tree was gone. So his liver was like an alcoholic's. But he's 4 months old and certainly wasn't drinking. I know his mom wasn't partying. Either way, we're stuck with a liver that doesn't work and a transplant that's necessary. So the reason that I'm in front of you today is to talk to you about organ donation. My son was a liver transplant recipient. To skip to the happy part, if he was sitting right next to you right now, you'd never know he's sick. Part of the miracles of science. The tricky time, the reason I'm here, is because we had to wait. We found out Justin needed this transplant, that all of this was broken at 3 months old. It wasn't until 6 months that he got the transplant. Which brings me to do this. There's just not enough organs. So we had to wait. We had to watch. Literally looking at our kid dying. Because who wants to eat when your stomach's full of this hard organ? No one. So he goes into the hospital with a feeding tube while we wait. For no other reason than there just are no organs. Why are there no organs? Because people don't sign up. Why don't people sign up? Because they're not really understanding what happens in the organ donation process. So, obviously I'm here to get you to sign up to be organ donors. How many of you in here are organ donors? Okay, how many of you in here have talked to your family about being organ donors? Okay, so part of the impact here today, maybe part of the reason and the purpose that I'm here is so that you go home and have that conversation. Okay, for Justin, he's my son, there's no real conversation necessary. He's my boy, I'm going to do whatever it is that I can to make sure that he's alive. Organ transplant was it, that's what we're going to do. Let's do it. Where's the organ? Oh, we gotta wait. Because you don't get to the top of the transplant list unless you're really sick. But, I mean, his organ doesn't work. He's turning yellow. I walk him through the parking lots to get him sun, and people call the police on me saying I'm walking with a dead baby. How much more sick do we need? Where's the organ? Sorry, there's not one available. Until August 7th, 2003. Mind you, at this point, now I'm just coming out of radiation treatment. And, oh, well, look, my son's about to have an organ. What? Organ? Okay. Now, here's where we get into the talk about purpose, reason, and there are no accidents. My favorite quote is from Albert Einstein. Coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. I'm not here to discuss with you or influence you about who your God is or where you're at with religion and faith. Only that you have to know that there's something greater, that there is some purpose. Okay? Justin, waiting. We get the call August 7th. I don't remember exactly what time. It felt like it was 10:30 in the morning, but as time rolls on, that can tend to flex a little bit. So surgery is 17 hours long. We're waiting inside surgery. We're waiting inside the waiting room. And now when Justin went into the procedure, he was yellow. Like when I say yellow like the fire gear or like Buddy over there taking a nap. And when he came out of surgery, bright white. Because the surgical part is literally just like a car, just really meticulous. Surgeons go in, pull out the liver, take a piece of the new one, put it in. For those of you wondering, the donor, from what we understand, was a 10-year-old boy that died in a drowning. I don't get to find out any more details of the story. Why, you might ask? Because no one else is alive in the family. I pursued, wanted to find out who Justin's donor was because it's part of the story. I think my boy is unique and special, but he just happens to be real special. Is it from part of the organ? Maybe, maybe not, don't know. But I wanted to meet the family. In separate events, everybody passed away. The only thing alive now, and from that, is in Justin. And it makes him unique. Inside the organ transplant, or during the organ transplant time, that 17-hour window, you just wait, right? You're sitting down in a chair, you just wait, and there's other people walking around, and hospitals are kind of an uncomfortable place anyways because nobody really goes to one to be happy. So there's an energy in it. And I'm sitting down, and I'm kind of mopey. I'm overwhelmed, legitimately, with a sick son, and thyroid cancer, and college, and work, and my grandmother, I really just didn't know what to do. But the great thing about the human dynamic is that our bodies treat physical and spiritual pain the same way. When it's really overwhelming, our brain goes into this surreal, you guys have felt it, you see something really traumatic, you go into where you're not feeling every detail, it's just kind of cloudy. I'm thankful for that. But in the middle of it, I'm sitting down, getting a little angry, and this guy walks by me and just taps me on the shoulder and goes, "Oh, don't worry, it's just a liver." So, I grew up in Hollywood, in an atmosphere where, one, you didn't touch people you didn't know. Two, you don't say something to somebody that you don't know. And three is Hollywood. You don't touch me. So I go bouncing up. What? Thankfully, the guy's huge. And he says, "Oh, yeah, my daughter's here with 3 organs." That was the first conscious lesson that I had in man, things can be a lot worse. Okay? Which was Daryl's purpose that day, right? Stop thinking about how sad it is. Stop thinking about how miserable your life is and how terrible things can be. It could be worse. Maybe that's the purpose in it. So, transplant comes out. Like I told you, Justin comes out looking white. But the organ that they put in the liver was too big. Because it was too big, they couldn't close him up. 16 weeks. About 16 weeks inside of ICU waiting. And waiting. Can we go home? Can we go home? The hospital becomes like a prison. a literal prison. Kids, their cribs are bars. You can't leave, you can't go, you're stuck. You eat what they have if you're ready to eat, and the kids have to just follow protocol. Okay, so we get out of ICU, we get to the step-down unit, we finally get to come home. But because the liver was too big, the piece they put in him, it caused Justin some pain. Well, we go to the hospital, they don't know what the problem is with the pain. We go somewhere else, they don't know. So, being that your kid, you go anywhere you can to do what you can to find out what's wrong with your kid. So, Dallas was where our doctor was. Now, at the time of the thyroid cancer in college and the jobs in the school, I decided to invest in a business that was a landscape company. And the business didn't work out, but I was stuck in debt. So now all of a sudden, from teacher, massage therapist, soon to be, or dad with a special needs kid now, cancer and grandmother and all this stuff, now I'm going to learn how to do a landscape business. It's only important for this particular start of the story. So, things didn't work out with Justin's mom. We're still cordial, but it just didn't work out. That's important next too. And I'm working. Mind you, I'm shoveling some dirt. I'll never forget. It's a Friday afternoon and I get a call. Hey, listen, we can see the doctor on Monday. We got to go. What? Well, because of the transplant, we can't fly. So now we got to drive. So in my head, real quick, I'm thinking, I got to be on a road trip with my ex and my sick son for 2 days. Whoa. Okay, it's your kid. You manage it. We made it happen. We get to Dallas. We get into the appointment, and it was a Monday morning. And sure enough, guess who's sitting in the office at the same time we are is Daryl. Big country bumpkin that had me thinking I was bad for a minute. So, I don't have regrets about the process of my life. Been through great things, terrible things, wonderful things, but ultimately, I've had a real special experience. One of the things that I do regret, though, is that I didn't contact or reach out and find out really who Daryl was. Because there's more of a reason than just bumping into him that day. There's something more to him just tapping me that day. Because there are no accidents. To illustrate there are no accidents, think about the amount of decisions needed to get me to Dallas that day. Not just, hey, road trip, but from do I answer the phone, do I not? Do I keep working, do I not? Do I go tell my customer that I'm going to come back in a few days? How fast do I pack? How fast do I drive? When do I get off the road? Gas, food, all of it. Decisions. All of Daryl's decisions to get him to the doctor that morning. All of my ex's decisions. The doctors, even from the lady picking up the phone in Dallas saying, sure, you guys can come in. All of the decisions that led her to that moment. For all of those things to happen, for Daryl to be the same guy thousands of miles, thousands of days away, in the same place again, it can't be accidental. Okay, I don't know how deep your connection to your faith is. Okay, hopefully it starts in a place where whoever you're faithful to is like a parent. No one's ever been in church or temple or wherever and had anyone say to you, you are God's adults. We're God's children. Okay? The only reason I say that is because then purpose and reason become to teach. Because when do people become the most grateful? When do people become the most grounded? When do people find the greatest peace in their life? Typically, right after some trauma. Now, the right after some trauma part might not be a week. It might not be in 10 days. It might not be in 2 years. For me, some of it's still unraveling. But if it's to teach, then you almost have to be grateful for the reason. So then your job is to find the purpose. And I'm not saying that's easy, because if you were to talk to me while I was going through that, you're not going to get the same Joel that's standing here today. That's a promise. Even 3 years ago, I wasn't the same guy. Still wanted to help, but hadn't really yet understood these two. But if you live in a world where your God is not all good, all knowing, and all loving, then you can believe that there are accidents. But if you live in a world like most of us where your God loves you as a parent, then all of those things you call accidents have a reason and have a purpose. Well, they are, we don't know. All of it. from stubbing your toe to the thoughts going through your mind right now, to me moving my hand, to earlier somebody erasing something, to me walking into the cafeteria and eating some of that pizza that tasted good 20 years ago, but not so much anymore. All of it has purpose. There's a reason you guys are in front of me today. I don't know what it is. I'd probably be in front of a bigger crowd if I could tell you what that reason is. But I know for sure that I'm here to have an impact. And I know for sure that no matter what, I have an impact. I could stand up here and, guys, you should be organ donors. It'd probably be really good. You might save some lives. Or I can talk to you like I do. I happen to love being up here, if you don't notice that. Okay? But it's about the impact. For me, I want to help who, how, whenever I can, on the greatest platform possible. And I want to do that because I feel like I can. And if you can help, you have a responsibility to do so. It's not money, because money rarely fixes things. Money wasn't going to fix my son's transplant. A cultural change, a national cultural change is what's needed. Because people are nervous. I don't want to sign up to be an organ donor. They're going to take my organs out when I'm in the rescue. I can promise you that doesn't happen. My fiance/wife/boss is a firefighter. And we have conversations about it. Okay, but picture you falling off a ladder, breaking your neck, and rescue's only mission is to get you alive to the hospital for care, that they're going to stop and pull out your wallet and check organ donor. Let's get him. It doesn't happen like that. Because the money's not in it. Now, I'm not telling you that the system's perfect, okay, because there are none. But I can tell you that there is zero system if no one's signing up. And if you can help with something that you're not going to need, how can you not do that? Legitimately. You were given organs from something greater than you as a gift. How can you not give those back to people who need it? You're not going to need them, right? Like funeral parlors, funeral homes have a process called treating. They put the organs in a bag and either put them in your chest or put them in the garbage. When you're faced with that God, that teacher, what are you going to do? What you do with your life? I'm imagining a cordial conversation like that. What would you do with your life? Well, I didn't do much. I worked, I taught, or I worked, and that's all I did. But I had a conversation with somebody about organ donation. They became donors, and between the two of them, saved 16 people and impacted 500. 500 people you can impact. Life-changing impact with skin. You can give somebody sight. Give somebody breath, as she's going to tell you soon. Breath. Can you, listen, you can do a lot of bad stuff in your life and be in front of your God and you're like, oh, how was your, man, I gave them breath and life. Pass, please. You know what I mean? I'm making light of it, but the idea is that there is something bigger. And you're a part of that bigger. You're going to have an impact no matter what. Make that impact as big as possible. And the greatest way to start the impact is to become grateful. Because on your worst day, there are people that have it worse. And you'll find that on those times when you're going through it, that your God or whoever it is, the universe, will put people in your life to catch you on it. Just happen, oh yeah, somebody happens to call and say, oh, you know what? Daryl, 3 organs. But no, the longer you ignore the lessons, the harder they get. Okay? Any questions? Well, we got a question from the back. Hi.
It's not a question, but you said your grandma died because Jackson in Miami. Well, when I was in 9th grade, my grandma got misdiagnosed by Jackson.
So, we talk about systems. Ultimately, medicine is a practice. Jackson saved my son's life, but killed my grandmother. You're going to have times when they make mistakes. And, yeah, I'm sorry to hear about your grandma. It's a frustrating position to be in. But there's some reason behind it. I don't know. But there's some. Any more questions? All right, guys, stay grateful. Have a good weekend. Thanks for allowing me.